As folks know, during the season of Epiphany, we're inviting people from the community to speak to us about support, how we can be better advocates, recognizing that there is hope even in the middle of what we feel is a despairing world. And this morning, I have the privilege of introducing Chrissy. Now, I've known Chrissy for quite some time. We're colleagues, friends. We've marched together. We've protested together. We've done a little faith-based organizing together. And for the last, how many years has it been, Chrissy? We've been in that pastor group. 7 years we've been in a pastor group that meets every first Tuesday of the month. And we have built a wonderful community of pastors together. Chrissy is the pastor of Epiphany United Church of Christ, just down the road from us. And so after Carol reads this morning, Chrissy, friend, is going to bring a message to us. So we're grateful for you, Chrissy, being here.
The reading from 1 Corinthians 13. If I speak in the tongues of humans and of angels but have not love, I'm a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. And if I have prophetic powers and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have faith so as to move mountains, but do not have love, I am nothing. If I give away all my possessions, and if I hand over my body so that I may boast, but do not have love, I gain nothing. Love is patient, love is kind, love is not envious or boastful or arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable. It keeps no record of wrongs. It does not rejoice in wrongdoing, but rejoices in the truth. It bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never ends. As for prophecies, they will come to an end. As for tongues, they will cease. As for knowledge, it will come to an end. For we know only in part, and we prophesy only in part. But when the complete comes, the partial will come to an end. When I was a child, I spoke like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. When I became an adult, I put an end to childish ways. For now we see only a reflection, as in a mirror, but then we will see face to face. Now I know only in part, but then I will know fully, even as I have been fully known. And now faith, hope, and love remain, these three, and the greatest of these is love. And from Matthew 25. For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. I needed clothes, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you looked after me. I was in prison, and you came to visit me. Then the righteous will answer him, Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink? When did we see you a stranger and invite you in, needing clothes and clothe you? When did we see you sick or in prison and go to visit you? The king will reply, truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of these least of the siblings of mine, you did for me. For the wisdom contained in these holy words, we give thanks. Amen.
Thank you for those lovely readings, and thank you, Wendy, for the lovely introduction. I have your book I borrowed in the back seat of the car. Don't let me leave without giving it to you. The inspector, yeah. I was born the day after Christmas, 1969, in a blizzard. I am and have always been a child of chaos. That was evident this morning when I started out doing fine ahead of time and everything went sideways, especially the fact that I forgot that we only have 2 fobs for the gate at Epiphany's new space, and there was nobody to let people in for Sunday school, so I had to run by there. And then guess what? The gate wouldn't open anyway. The hydraulics are frozen. So I was a little late getting here, and I'm sorry for that. This is my life. When I was 3, I did not have words for what I felt. I told my parents and anybody else that would listen that I was a Martian. And that, in fact, I had been switched with their child, and at some point, my parents would be coming to get me and switch us back. And that I was sorry and I loved them very much, but I did need to go home to Mars. But I did not fit here. Fast forward, not all that long, I was in middle school and I was getting in a lot of fights at school, mostly because of people calling me queer, calling me the F slur. And I didn't understand that because I liked girls and I had had a girlfriend since pre-K. Didn't make any sense, so I got in a lot of fights. And the school said to my parents, put this child in therapy or we are expelling them. After 9 months of both land group therapy, my therapist said, I think your problem is you're gay. And I said, you're crazy, and walked out and didn't go back to therapy until I was in my 40s. But while I was at seminary here at Eden, a dear friend and classmate, Jen Hall, may she rest in peace, on hearing that story about the therapist, punched me in the arm. And those of you that knew Jen, she had huge biceps. She left a bruise. Punched me in the arm and said, well, you dummy, he was only half wrong. And I said, Jen, what are you talking about? And she said, do you really think you're a boy? And I said, well, that's what they tell me. What do you think I am? And Jen said, I think you're a lesbian. And I said, okay, I guess we need to talk about that. And that, in my 30s, was the beginning of my coming out. But it took some time. It took some exploration, some study, to come down where I am now, which is that I am a trans feminine, genderqueer human. Genderqueer is a category of non-binary, which we heard about in the wonderful book. Thank you for that setup. That was fantastic. So I know for sure I'm not boy at all, but I don't all the time feel completely like a girl. So I call myself genderqueer and I just play and be me because that's who I am and how I am. And I didn't get to where I am now for 7 years after my conversation with Jen. It took time. And when I reached where I am now, I was serving in a fairly conservative, suburban congregation. And I had to be pretty carefully closeted there. But when I left that church and went into the search process, I went in as an open and out genderqueer person. And the Committee on Ministry was super supportive, both in Illinois South, where I was serving at the time, and in Missouri Mid-South, where I accepted the call to Epiphany. The Epiphany congregation has been hugely, hugely supportive. They have taken such good care of me through changes in my preferred pronouns. When I came to them, I was mostly using they, them. Now I'm far more comfortable with she, her. I introduced myself to them as Pastor Chris. Now I'm Pastor Chrissy. They've been great with that. They can handle it. Epiphany's been through changes and changes and changes over the years. We are selling our building, as you are, or doing something with your building. We actually close on the 30th, but we have moved into borrowed rooms. So we celebrated Christmas Eve, which, if you read the Greek real carefully, there's no inn. There was no room in the guest room on top of the house. They're downstairs with the family and the animals, right? but it's a borrowed room nonetheless. And when we celebrate communion, we talk about Jesus and the disciples meeting in a borrowed room. So we've been doing that, living into that, gathering around a borrowed table in a borrowed room. There are organizations in St. Louis, including the Metro Trans Umbrella Group, Transparent, our own Gateway Open and Affirming Coalition, which provide the support and the love and the care that we all need, right? But some of us, because of our circumstances, need a little extra support, a little extra care. One of the things Epiphany's been great about, I'm going to back up just a hair. One of the struggles of folks who come out as trans or non-binary as adults is this feeling that they missed out on the childhood they should have had, right? So I have been reclaiming my girlhood, and I had to celebrate in church when I got my first pair of Mary Janes, right? Which I have wanted since I was 3. They do, thank you. The love of the community of churches in the Gateway Open and Affirming group and in St. Louis in general. The care of my colleagues and my seminary who have been nothing but supportive. I'm pretty sure if I asked Eden to reissue my diploma with my chosen name on it, they would. But let's talk about names. I was born Christopher Kane Wolfe, W-O-L-F-E. In 1978, my mother divorced my abusive birth father, and in 1980, she married Jerry Rouse. And when they got married, they put their 2 names, her maiden name Avis and his name Rouse, together and made Avis Rouse, which is what appears in your bulletin. Jerry adopted me. He is my dad. Avis Rouse is my legal name. I had been spelling Chrissy kind of weird with a Y instead of an I at the beginning and an IE on the end. And my mom, who's been gone like 25 years, showed up in a dream and said, "Your name is spelled the way it is for reasons." So I switched it back. But I started using first name, Kathleen, as my middle name. So I go by Chrissy Kate, and she hasn't come back in any dreams to bother me about that, so she must be okay with it. People change names all the time for all kinds of reasons, and nobody seems to have a problem with it, except when it's a trans person or a non-binary person. I mean, gosh, the vice presidents had, 4 different names? Whatever. You want to be good allies? You want to support people? Listen to them and their stories. Call them by their chosen name and their pronouns. And love them as they are, which I know you do, because I know who you are as a congregation. And I know who your pastor is. And I know where to find you. I thank you for inviting me today, for the love that you share in our community. We see you. We see you when you have your vigils out on the street. We see you when you're trying to bring affordable housing to this community. We see you when you're loving each other and following Jesus. Thanks be to God for the journey together, supporting each other. Amen.